I am going to add some fireworks using oil pastels to my Lady Liberty. And I have red and blue and yellow and white to do my fireworks. So I'm going to start with some blue, and I can put my fireworks anywhere around her. It's okay if there's some overlap onto her, okay? So I'm going to add some just right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in a midpoint and come out almost like a spider coming out, and I can do whatever colors I want. I'm going to do some yellow and some blue right there and some white. Now notice that you cannot see the white right now, but when you paint it with your watercolor, you're going to be able to see it. Now that's a big thick one. I'm going to do one over here that's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to start from that midpoint and come out with my white. And now I'm just going to add some red in there. And maybe a little bit of yellow in this one as well. And I can put as many fireworks as I want. I can put them all over, or I can do just those. All right, now I am ready to do some watercolor painting on my Lady Liberty. And I have 3 different size brushes. I have a large one, a medium one, and a small one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint her first. She's going to be green because the Statue of Liberty is green. I'm going to do one section at a time, and the reason why is because you don't want your water to dry too quickly. So I'm going to start with her crown, and I'm going to wet my brush, and then I'm going to smear it kind of onto my lid so that it gets the excess water off, and I'm going to add some water to her crown. And I'm only going to do 3 sections right here because that's the amount of water that I have. If my brush was wetter, I could keep going, but that's enough right now. And then I'm going to dip the tip of my brush into my green, and as I touch, it kind of spreads. Now this brush is pretty good for all of this, but if I wanted to, I could use a smaller brush to make sure I get into those points. But I'm just pushing the color to the edges, and I'm going to leave that kind of mottled look to it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my next one. I can dip the tip and get a little more color. And notice that as I go over the oil pastels, that they are not getting painted because the oil in the pastels repels the water. Now that I've done those 3 sections here, because I'm just doing small sections at a time, I'm going to add a little rust to my Lady Liberty, and you can do this if you want to. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. So I'm just going to take my brown, and I'm just going to touch the tip into the brown and then add a little bit of rust to some little spots here and there on her. There we go. Now she's a little bit rusty. After that, I'm going to move on to another section, doing exactly what I did before. First, I start with my wet brush. I'm going to kind of blot it a little bit, and I'm going to do a small section. I can just do either one, or I can do a few. I'm going to do 3 like I did before. 3 sections at a time. And I'm going to keep going until I have all of my Lady Liberty colored green and some rust. Okay, now that I am ready to change colors, one of the things I want to be careful with is that if I am too close to something that's super wet, then the color is going to bleed. So I want to kind of start at areas that look more dry. For the background, you can use black, you can use purple, and you can use blue. Remember, it is a night sky, so it's good to use maybe black with purple or black with blue, or even a combination of all of those. So I think that I'm going to do a black sky. So I'm going to rinse my brush, and I'm going to get my black. I'm going to paint some water. I'm going to be real careful around her face. I don't want it to bleed too much. I know I'm going to bleed a little bit because I didn't sit and let it dry, but that's okay. And then I'm going to put my tip in and get some black. While it's still wet, I'm going to add in some purple. Like I did with the brown, by just putting a little tiny bit in there, here and there. And there she is, Lady Liberty, and you can see how the fireworks really stand out now.